My name is Josh. I am 35 years old, born and raised in the US, and I work as an IT support specialist. I married my wife Natasha 5 years ago. She is 32 and works as a project manager in a marketing firm. On the morning everything started, I thought our life was normal. I had no idea that by nightfall, our marriage would be hanging by a thread. That morning, Natasha was rushing like she always did. She had a big presentation at work. She walked out of the bathroom with a towel around her chest and another wrapped around her hair. "Josh, can you help me with this?" she asked, holding up a beige brassiere. I laughed a little. You know, for someone who runs a whole team, you always need help with this one simple thing. "Just help me," she said, smiling but looking stressed. "I'm running late." She turned around. I fastened the hooks. I noticed the bra, because it was new, beige with a small gold bow in the middle. I remember joking about it. "This new?" I asked. "Yeah, got it last weekend. You like it?" she said, glancing in the mirror. "It's nice," I replied. "You're going to distract your whole office." She rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. She put on a light blue blouse over it, then a navy skirt. She sprayed perfume, grabbed her laptop bag, and checked her phone. I walked her to the door, like I always did. "Wish me luck," she said. "You don't need luck," I replied. "You're good at what you do." She kissed me quickly. "I'll try not to be too late. We might have to work overtime. Don't wait up if I text that I'll be late." "Okay, just keep me posted," I said. At that moment, nothing felt wrong. We joked, we kissed. It felt like any other day. I even sent her a text 15 minutes later. "You've got this, babe?" She replied with a heart emoji, and "Thanks, love." I went to work, answered calls, fixed systems, and thought about normal things. Bills, a friend's birthday coming up, maybe planning a small trip with Natasha. I was annoyed about my job, bored actually, but I was steady, married, settled. If someone had told me that same morning that my wife had been cheating on me for 2 years, I would have laughed and called it crazy. I thought we were far from perfect, but I believed we were honest. That beige brassiere felt like nothing when I hooked it for her. I didn't know it would become the small detail that broke my whole world open. Natasha texted me around 5:30 p.m. "We're still in a meeting, might be home late. Don't wait for dinner." I stared at the message for a few seconds. It wasn't unusual. She had been working late a lot in the last year. Still, something about it made me sigh. I replied, "Okay, be safe." At 8:45 p.m. I heard her keys at the door. "Josh, I'm home," she called. I was on the couch watching a show, but not really paying attention. I muted the TV and looked at her. She walked in wearing the same blouse and skirt from the morning. Her hair was a little messy, and she looked tired. "Hey," I said. "Long day." "The worst," she replied, dropping her bag on the chair. "I'm exhausted." She kicked off her heels and stretched her feet, then sat beside me. I leaned in to hug her. As I did, my arm brushed her back. Something felt off. I pulled back slightly. "Where's your bra?" I asked, half surprised, half joking. The fabric of her blouse rested too loosely on her. She paused, then shrugged. "I didn't wear one today," she said casually. I frowned. "What are you talking about? I literally helped you fasten it this morning. The beige one. The new one with the little gold bow." Her eyes flickered just for a second. Then she laughed, too quickly. "Josh, no, I didn't wear one today. I remember deciding not to. The blouse has lining." I stared at her. My heart started to pick up speed. "Natasha, I'm not crazy. I fastened it myself in the bedroom. Around 7:30 a.m., you were wearing a towel." She shifted slightly, her gaze hardening. "Maybe you're mixing up days." "I know what I wore." That answer slapped something inside me. "Why are you acting like I imagined it?" I asked, my voice rising. "I remember joking that you'd distract your whole office. I remember the exact bra." She folded her arms. "Josh, I had a long day. I don't want to argue about underwear. I'm telling you I didn't wear one." Something cold slid into my chest. If it wasn't on her body, where was it? "Okay," I said slowly. "Then show me. Go change." "If you didn't wear it." It should be in the drawer, right? She froze. It was quick, but I caught it. A tightness in her jaw. A flicker of fear. I'm not doing this, she snapped. I'm not going to dig through my drawer to prove something so stupid. It's not stupid, I shot back. Where's the bra, Natasha? Her eyes flashed with anger now. You're being paranoid, she said. You're making drama out of nothing. But my stomach was already in knots. A simple missing bra should not create that level of resistance. A simple question should not lead to this many lies so fast. I turned off the TV completely. I needed my head clear. Natasha, look at me, I said. She avoided my eyes for a second, pretending to search her phone. Then she slowly looked up. Can we not do this tonight? No, I said. We're doing this right now. Josh, I had a horrible day at work, she said. We had a client yelling at us, my boss breathing down my neck, and I haven't even eaten properly. And now I come home, and you start interrogating me about a bra. It's ridiculous. I studied her face. There was real frustration there. But underneath it, something else. Panic. I know what I did this morning, I said quietly. I fastened that beige bra for you. You put on that blue blouse and that navy skirt. I made a joke. You laughed. That happened. I am not insane. She shook her head. You're overthinking. Ma bae. You're confusing it with yesterday. Or last week. I don't know, Josh. I'm tired. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. Okay, let's say I'm wrong. Let's go check the hamper, the bathroom, the closet. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. But if I'm right, and that bra is somewhere, it shouldn't be. Then you need to explain. Her expression hardened. This is controlling, she said. You're acting like some paranoid detective. I felt anger rising. No, I'm acting like a husband who notices things. Where is the bra, Natasha? I told you I didn't wear one. Her voice came out louder than I expected. It echoed slightly in the room. My chest tightened. That kind of volume wasn't normal for her. Stop gaslighting me, I said, my voice low. I'm serious. I know what I saw. She laughed again, but this time it was sharp, almost sarcastic gaslighting. So now I'm some villain because I don't agree with your memory. Yes, I said, because you're lying. And I want to know why. We stared at each other. The silence between us was heavy. Finally, I spoke again. All right. I'm going to say this one time. If you don't tell me where you left that bra, we're done. I will file for divorce. Her face drained of color. You're joking, she said. I'm not joking, I replied. I might sound crazy to you, but this is clear in my head. If you're innocent, you'll just tell me the truth. If you're not, you'll keep lying. And then I know what I need to do. She swallowed hard. Her eyes started to shine with unshed tears. This is unfair, she whispered. What's unfair is you treating me like I'm stupid, I said. Last chance. Where did you leave the bra? She stared at me, breathing heavily. I could see something breaking behind her eyes. Her shoulders slumped, her eyes filled completely, and a tear slipped down her cheek. Josh, please, she said softly. Can we talk about this another time? That's still not an answer, I said. Where did you leave the bra? She covered her face with both hands. Her voice came out muffled. I don't want to lose you. My throat tightened. Then be honest. She lowered her hands slowly. Her mascara had smudged. She looked smaller than usual. Like her confidence had evaporated. You already know, she said. You wouldn't push this hard if you didn't know something was off. Then say it, I replied. I'm not going to say it for you. She took a shaky breath. I didn't come straight from the office. My chest burned. Where did you go? Her eyes darted away to a hotel. The word felt like a punch. With who? I asked, though part of me already knew. She stared at her hands. My boss, she whispered. Daniel. I closed my eyes. I had heard his name countless times. Daniel, the understanding boss. Daniel, the great mentor. Daniel, who believed in her ideas. I tasted bitterness in my mouth. How long? I asked. She hesitated. How long? I repeated, louder. 2 years, she finally said, tears streaming down her face. It started after that conference in Chicago. We were drunk, and it just happened, and then it kept happening. The room felt like it tilted. 2 years. That meant our third anniversary. That meant the trip we canceled, the sudden late nights, the urgent deadlines. The phone turned face down. So today? I asked, forcing myself to stay seated. You wore the bra? You went to work. After work, you went to a hotel with your boss. You took off your bra there, and you left it there. She nodded slowly, shame written across her face. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. I was going to stop. Stop, I cut in. Don't insult me with that line. She sobbed harder. I'm so sorry, Josh. I swear I still love you. I don't know what's wrong with me. It just became a habit. I kept telling myself it meant nothing. That you were still my real husband. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. I was your real husband. But you've been sleeping with another man for 2 years. I know, she cried. I hate myself for it sometimes, but Daniel understands my work. He listens. We started talking about late-night projects, and I held up my hand. I don't care about your emotional explanation. 2 years, Natasha. While I was cooking for you, paying bills, planning our future, you were in hotel rooms with him. I'm sorry, she repeated, like a broken record. I stared at her, my heart tearing apart. You didn't just cheat, I said slowly. You stood here and looked me in the eye and tried to convince me I imagined fastening your bra. You tried to mess with my head instead of confessing. She dropped her gaze, trembling. I knew at that moment something had snapped inside me, something that wouldn't be fixed by apologies. I stood up. My legs felt heavy, but I forced myself to move. I walked to the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water, and took a sip. My hands were shaking slightly. I could hear Natasha sobbing quietly in the living room. Part of me wanted to scream, part of me wanted to throw something, but a colder part of me had already started to work. It was organizing facts, like files in a cabinet. 2 years, multiple lies, late nights, business trips, the sudden change in her passwords, the time she didn't pick up my calls at that team dinner, the new lingerie that wasn't for me. She walked into the kitchen, wiping her face with the back of her hand. Josh, please say something, she begged. Don't just shut down on me. I put the glass down and looked at her. How many times? I asked. She winced. I don't know. A lot. It wasn't just one time. Was it only him? I asked. Yes, she said quickly. Only Daniel. No one else. Do you use protection? I asked flatly. She nodded. Yes, always. Have you been tested? She hesitated. Not recently. So for 2 years, you've been sleeping with another man and then coming home to me, and you didn't think I deserved to know if I was being exposed to anything? I asked. She started crying again. I know it's horrible. I was scared. I kept telling myself I'd tell you after this project, after this promotion, after something. I kept pushing it. You were scared to lose the comfort of both worlds, I said. That's what you were scared of. She said nothing. I took a deep breath. Okay, here's what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm taking the day off work. I'm calling both our families. I want everyone to know exactly what has been going on. Then I'm calling a lawyer. Her eyes widened. Josh, no, please. We can go to counseling. We can try to fix this. I'll quit my job. I'll cut him off completely. Just don't involve everyone. Don't destroy my career. I stared at her amazed. Your career? I repeated. That's what you're worried about. Not our marriage. I care about us, she said, voice breaking. But if everyone knows, I'll be judged forever. My parents will disown me. My siblings will. Maybe you should have thought about that when you checked into that hotel today, I said, with your beige bra. She covered her mouth, sobbing. I'm not covering for you, I continued. I'm done playing the naive husband who doesn't see what's right in front of him. Josh, I'm begging you, she whispered. Please, don't do this. We can keep this between us. I'll accept any condition you give. Just don't end our marriage like this. I shook my head. You ended our marriage the first time you went to his room and closed the door behind you. I just didn't know it yet. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. I'm sleeping in the guest room, I said. Don't follow me. Her hand dropped. She stood there shaking as I walked down the hallway. When I closed the guest room door, I leaned my head against it and felt tears burning my eyes. I slid down to the floor and let them fall. It wasn't just the cheating that broke me. It was the realization that I had been living in a story she was writing alone. I barely slept around 3 a.m. I gave up on trying. I turned on the lamp and stared at the ceiling. My mind replayed everything, trying to see where I had been blind. Around 7 a.m., I got up, showered, and went to the living room. Natasha was sitting on the couch, hair tied back, still wearing yesterday's clothes. She looked wrecked. Josh, she began. I don't want to talk, I said. I just need my laptop and my phone. I'm working from home today. She nodded, looking down. I grabbed my things before I went back to the guest room. I stopped. Give me your phone, I said. She stiffened. Because I want to see it, I replied. If we're going to end this, I want to see exactly what I'm ending. Her grip tightened around her phone. Josh, please. Right, I said, a bitter laugh slipping out. More secrets. She swallowed and finally handed it over. Please don't hate me more than you already do, she whispered. I took the phone and went to the guest room. I sat on the bed and opened it. Face ID unlocked it. I went straight to messages. It didn't take long. There was a thread with D-work, which was ridiculous. Inside, the messages were mixed, some about campaigns and deadlines, others about hotel bookings and missing your hands. My chest burned as I scrolled back. Months, then a year, then more. Room 507, at 6 p.m. Don't park in front. I love seeing you after a big presentation. You looked so sexy in that dress today. Can't stop thinking about it. There were pictures, nothing fully explicit but enough. Her in new lingerie. Her in a robe slightly open. Selfies in bathrooms. My jaw clenched so hard I felt pain. Then there were messages about me. He's too trusting, she wrote once. Josh is a good guy, she wrote another time. I feel guilty, but I can't stop. Daniel's replies made my stomach turn. He doesn't need to know. You deserve to have fun. Your husband is lucky I let him keep you most days. I kept reading until I reached a point where I felt like I would throw up. I opened her email receipts from hotel's calendar, events labeled as client follow-up that were actually booking times, Uber rides that started at her office and ended at a hotel. There was no mistake. There was a pattern. I set the phone down. My hands were shaking again, but now my sadness had started to change shape. It turned into something sharper, anger with purpose. I opened my own laptop and started searching for divorce attorneys in our city. I bookmarked 3 sites. Then I drafted a short email to my manager, requesting personal leave for the next day or 2. Then I opened a new note and began listing everything I had just seen. Dates, hotels, messages. If this turned ugly later, I wanted to be prepared. By the time I stepped out of the room, it was late morning. Natasha was still on the couch staring at nothing. You went through my phone, she said quietly. Yes, I replied. And I found enough to know I'll never trust you again. She looked up at me, eyes red and swollen. So what now? She asked. I already told you, I said. I'm calling both families. I'm filing for divorce. She shook her head slowly. Josh, please. We've built a life together. We've been through so much. Obviously not enough to stop you from sleeping with your boss in hotel rooms, I cut in. So whatever we built wasn't strong enough for you. I was weak, she said. I made a terrible choice over and over. But we can work on it. I'll do therapy. We can do couples counseling. I'll sign anything. Just don't destroy me in front of everyone. I'm not destroying you, I replied. You did that yourself. I'm just refusing to hide it. She wiped her face again. What about your image? What about how people will look at you, the man whose wife cheated for 2 years? Aren't you embarrassed? Honestly, I'm more embarrassed by the idea of pretending everything is fine while I know the truth. I said. At least this way I get to stand up for myself. She leaned forward. We don't have kids yet. We can start fresh. Let's separate for a while. Rethink things, but not jump into divorce, please. I paused. That word, kids, stabbed me. We had talked about trying soon. I realized something dark. While I had been worrying about being a good father one day, she had been living a double life. I wouldn't bring a child into this kind of dishonesty, I said so. No, that doesn't change anything. She grabbed a cushion as if to hold herself together. If you tell my parents, my dad will never speak to me again, she whispered. He is strict about marriage. He always talks about loyalty. He also talks about integrity, I replied. Maybe he should know his daughter has been lying to her husband for 2 years straight. She stared at me. You want revenge, she said slowly. I thought about it. Maybe I do, I admitted. But more than that, I want accountability. I'm tired of being the only one who didn't know what was going on. I took my phone out and opened my contacts. I found my mom's number first. My thumb hovered over the call button. Natasha's eyes widened. Wait, she said. Not yet. At least let us talk calmly first. Please, Josh, I'm begging you. Give me 1 week. 1 week of trying to fix things before you blow everything up. 1 week for you to manipulate me into staying, I asked. No. Because you've already decided, she said bitterly. You don't want to hear anything else from me. You just want to punish me. I don't want to punish you, I answered. I want to protect myself. And one way to do that is to stop making your comfort my priority. She flinched like those words. Physically hurt. I pressed the call button. My mom answered on the second ring. Hey, Josh, everything okay? She asked. I looked straight at Natasha as I spoke. No, Mom, I said. Everything is not okay. I need you and Dad to come over tonight. It's important. It's about my marriage. Natasha closed her eyes. Her shoulders shook silently. She already knew this was the beginning of the end. My parents arrived around 6 p.m. My mom, Linda, is a retired nurse. My dad, Charles, works part-time at a hardware store. Now that he's older, they are straightforward people. No drama, no games. They stepped into the living room, and both of them immediately sensed the tension. Natasha was sitting on the edge of the couch, hands clasped, eyes down. I was standing near the armchair. What's going on? My dad asked, looking between us. I swallowed. My throat felt dry. You should sit down, I said. They sat. My mom leaned forward slightly. You're scaring me, Josh, she said. I took a breath. I found out yesterday that Natasha has been having an affair, I said, for 2 years with her boss. The words hung in the air. My mother's eyes widened. My father's jaw clenched. Natasha burst into tears. I'm so sorry, she said, her voice cracking. I know I've hurt your son. I hate myself for it. My mom turned to her sharply. Is it true? She asked. Natasha nodded, covering her face. My mom looked back at me, her eyes full of pain. For 2 years? She repeated. Yeah, I said. She finally admitted it last night. I also saw proof on her phone messages, hotel receipts, everything. My dad spoke up, voice tense. And you, Natasha, what do you have to say? She lowered her hands slowly. I have no excuse, she said. I made choices I can't take back. I kept telling myself I'd stop, but I never did. Daniel and I. It was wrong. I know that. My dad shook his head. You looked us in the eye at holidays, at dinners, at your anniversary, and you carried this, he asked. Tears streamed down her face. Yes, she whispered. I was a coward. My mom's voice cracked. Josh, what do you want to do? I'm filing for divorce, I said firmly. I already started looking for lawyers. I'm not going to try to fix this. My mom looked hurt, but she nodded slowly. I understand, she said. Trust like that. It's hard to rebuild, especially after so long. My dad nodded. No one can force you to stay, he said. If it was a one-time thing, maybe, but 2 years. That's a second relationship. Natasha sobbed harder. I know you all hate me, she said. I deserve it, but I still love Josh. I really do. My mom looked at her for a long moment. Love without honesty doesn't mean much, she said quietly. I swallowed hard. That sentence hit me deep. I called you because I don't want this to be hidden, I told my parents. I also want you to know that if Natasha reaches out to you after this, you'll have the full story. My mom nodded, wiping her own eyes. We're here for you, she said. Whatever happens next. My dad stood up and put a hand on my shoulder. You're not alone in this, he said. We'll help you, however we can. In that moment, I felt a small relief. The truth was out. At least on my side of the family, there would be no lies or half-truths. After my parents left, the apartment felt heavy again. Natasha sat silently, eyes swollen. I knew the next step would be even harder for her. Now your family, I said. She looked up quickly. Josh, no, please, not my parents, not yet. I'm not waiting, I replied. I told you I wouldn't hide this. Her voice shook. My father is strict, he's old school. He will never forgive me. My mother will probably collapse. I'm not responsible for how they react, I said. I'm responsible for telling the truth. She pressed her lips together. At least let me be the one to tell them, she said. Please don't just call and drop it on them from your side. I thought about it for a moment. Fine, I said. We'll do a video call, you tell them, but you tell them the full truth in front of me. No sugarcoating, no half-story where I'm the bad guy. She nodded slowly, trembling. We set up the video call on the TV. Her parents, Mr. and Mistress Carter, appeared on the screen. They live in another state. Mr. Carter is a serious man with gray hair. Mistress Carter looks gentle but firm. Natasha? Josh, is everything okay? Her mother asked, frowning slightly. Natasha swallowed. Her voice wavered. Mom, Dad, there's something I need to tell you, she began. My heart pounded as I watched her. What is it? Mr. Carter asked. You look upset. Natasha took a breath. I've been unfaithful to Josh, she said. For a long time. Her mother's hand flew to her mouth. What? She whispered. Her father's face hardened. Explain, he said. Natasha looked down. For the past 2 years, I've been having an affair with my boss, she said. I lied to Josh. I lied to you. I lied to everyone. Silence filled the screen. Her father's eyes burned. That can't be true, her mother said weakly. Natasha, tell me you're exaggerating 2 years. Natasha shook her head. It's true, Mom. I've been meeting him in hotels. I told Josh I was working late, but I wasn't. He found out because of something small. My bra. I tried to lie even then, but he pushed, and I finally confessed. Her mother started crying. Why would you do that? She asked. Your husband is a good man. Her father spoke, his voice stiff. And what are the consequences? He asked, looking at me through the screen. Josh. I'm filing for divorce, I said calmly. I can't stay in a marriage after that kind of betrayal. Mr. Carter nodded slowly, his jaw tight. He turned back to his daughter. You have shamed us, he said. You were raised better than this. I know, Natasha whispered, sobbing. I know, Dad. I hate myself. Her mother tried to speak, but her voice cracked and she broke down completely. Is there any chance you'll forgive her? She asked me through tears. Is there any way to save this marriage? I shook my head. I'm sorry. But no. I said, too much has happened. Her father sighed, shoulders slumped. Then you must prepare for the consequences, Natasha. He said, we cannot protect you from what you chose. The call ended with more tears and heavy silence. When the screen went dark, Natasha looked completely destroyed, but I couldn't comfort her anymore. I was too busy trying to hold myself together. The next day, after talking to a lawyer on the phone and setting up an appointment, I decided to do something else I knew I needed to do. I wanted to confront Daniel. Natasha had gone to stay at a friend's place temporarily. We agreed to give each other space until I moved out, or she did. The apartment felt strangely peaceful without her, but the silence reminded me of everything. I looked up Daniel's company address from Natasha's emails. I knew I shouldn't cause a scene at her workplace, but part of me didn't care. Another part of me, the logical part, reminded me to keep it calm and controlled. I arrived around noon. The receptionist greeted me. "Hi, I'm here to see Daniel Hayes," I said. "It's personal." "Do you have an appointment?" she asked. "No," I replied. "But he'll want to see me." "Tell him it's Josh, Natasha's husband." Her expression changed slightly. She typed something and made a quick call. After a moment she said, "You can go up. Conference room 2. When I walked in, Daniel was already there. Tall, dark hair, expensive suit, confident posture, the kind of man people naturally follow. His expression, however, was guarded. "Josh," he said, "I was wondering when this day would come." The casual tone almost pushed me over the edge, but I kept my voice steady. "Then you know why I'm here." He gestured to a chair. "Have a seat." I stayed standing. "No thanks, this won't take long." He sighed. "Look, I'm not going to pretend what happened was right. It wasn't. Natasha and I crossed a line. Several lines, but it wasn't all one-sided." "I don't care about your version of excuses," I said. "I just came here to say a few things clearly. 1. I know everything. 2. I'm filing for divorce. 3. If I find out you tried to pressure her in any way, using your position, I won't hesitate to take legal action." He raised an eyebrow. "Pressure? That's not what this was. She wanted this too." "I saw the messages," I replied. "I know she participated. That doesn't make you less of a snake." He shrugged slightly. "Adults make choices. You can't pin this all on me." "I'm not," I said. "I blame her, but I blame you too. You knew she was married. You met me at events. You shook my hand, and then you booked hotel rooms with my wife." His face tightened. He didn't have a smart answer for that. "I'm not here to fight," I continued. "I'm not going to yell or punch you. That won't help me. But I wanted you to see my face and know exactly what kind of damage you've contributed to. You didn't just sleep with a coworker. You helped destroy a marriage." He looked away for a second. "I don't expect your forgiveness," he said. "And I know you think I'm a monster. But Natasha is an adult. She made her own choices. She never told me she was unhappy with you." "That's because she wanted both lives," I said. "The married life and the affair life." He nodded slowly. "One more thing," I said. "If there's any HR policy about relationships between managers and subordinates, you might want to prepare yourself. I'm not saying I'll report you, but I'm also not promising that I won't, especially if you try to retaliate against her now that it's over." His jaw clenched. "I don't need your threats," he said. "I'll deal with my own consequences." "I hope you do," I replied, "because whether it comes from me or not, karma has a way of collecting." I turned and walked out. My hands were shaking, but not with fear. With closure. I had looked the man in the eyes and told him exactly what he deserved to hear. A week later, I sat in a law office across from a woman named Amanda Clark. She was sharp, direct, and calm. Exactly what I needed. "So, Josh," she said, flipping through the file I provided. "You've been married for 5 years. No. Kids' apartment rented under both names. Joint checking account, separate savings. Correct?" "Yeah," I said. "And your grounds for divorce are adultery," she continued. "You have proof." "I have text messages, emails, and receipts," I replied. 2 years' worth." She nodded. "Good. That simplifies some things in our state. Adultery can have an impact on certain financial decisions, though judges vary. Are you seeking any specific compensation? Spousal support? Or do you simply want a clean break?" I thought about it honestly. "I just want out," I said. "I don't want to pay her alimony, though. If anything, she should be the one paying me." Amanda smiled faintly. "Given the circumstances, we can argue strongly that you should not be responsible for alimony, especially if she's the higher earner and at fault for the breakdown of the marriage. We can also negotiate who takes what in terms of property and debt." "I don't want to fight over furniture," I said. "I can replace a couch. I can't replace my sanity." She nodded. "That attitude will help keep this from dragging out. Now, about informing her officially. I'll prepare the papers and serve her. She can either sign and agree or contest. If she contests, things will take longer. Are you prepared for that possibility?" I sighed. "I'll deal with it. I'm not going back, no matter how long it takes." "Good," Amanda said. "One more thing. Do you plan to bring up the affair with her boss to her company? It could expose them to internal investigations. I haven't decided, I replied. Right now, I'm focused on getting free. But I won't lie if anyone asks. She closed the file. Okay, Josh, I'll move forward. With filing, you'll receive a copy of everything. Try to document any communication between you and Natasha from now on. Keep things factual and avoid emotional texts that might complicate matters. I nodded. Thank you. When I stepped out of the office, I felt strange, sad, but also lighter. The first concrete step toward ending something that had already died emotionally. That evening, I met Natasha at the apartment to talk about logistics. She looked tired, defeated. I got served, she said, holding the papers. I know, I replied. I asked them to do it when you were off work, so you wouldn't be humiliated in the office. That's the last mercy I can offer. She looked at the papers, then at me. You're really doing this, she whispered. Yes, I said. I am. She swallowed. Can I at least ask for one thing? What? I asked. When this is over, she said, voice shaking, please don't turn me into a story you tell people casually. Don't reduce me to my cheating ex at every party. I stared at her. I can't control how I process my pain, I said. But I'm not interested in making you a punchline. This whole thing isn't funny to me. She nodded, tears in her eyes. Thank you, she whispered. We then discussed who would move out. We agreed that I would take the apartment for now, and she would stay with her friend until she found her own place. It was practical, but painful, a clear sign that our shared life was splitting apart. News of the affair and the divorce spread slowly through our circle. I told a few close friends. Natasha's parents told her siblings. People reacted in different ways. My friend Marcus called me. Dude, I don't even know what to say, he began. Natasha seriously. Yeah, I replied. It shocked me too. You okay? He asked. Not really, I said, but I'm functioning. He paused. I'm proud of you for not pretending, he said. A lot of guys would just hide it. Yeah. Well, I'm done hiding, I replied. Some mutual friends tried to stay neutral. A few texted both of us, saying things like, we're here for both of you. I understood, but I pulled back from any friend who tried to minimize what happened. Around that time, something else started to happen. Daniel's name came up again, but not from Natasha. Marcus worked in HR consulting and had a client connection at Natasha's company. One day he called me, sounding surprised. Bro, you're not going to believe this, he said. I heard through the grapevine that HR opened an internal investigation on Daniel. I sat up. What? Why? Well, Marcus said, someone, I don't know who, reported that he'd been in a long-term relationship with a subordinate. Natasha wasn't the only person he messed with, apparently. Another woman spoke up. I felt a strange, dark satisfaction. So they're looking into him. Yeah, Marcus said. In companies like that, relationships between managers and their reports are a big issue, especially if there's favoritism or pressure involved. If they find something, he could get demoted, maybe fired. I hadn't reported him, but I didn't feel bad about this at all. If he was using his position to get involved with multiple women, then he deserved whatever came. Later, Natasha texted me. They're investigating Daniel at work. People are whispering. I think someone found out about us. I replied, that's between you and your company. I had nothing to do with it. After a pause, she wrote, I know, it just feels like everything is collapsing at once. I stared at the message. That's what happens when you stack lies for 2 years, I thought, but I didn't send it. A week later, Natasha called me, voice shaky. Daniel was asked to step down from his managerial role. She said he might be fired soon. HR said they're still reviewing everything. Sounds like consequences, I said. There are rumors, she added. People suspect me. They're looking at me differently. I feel like everyone knows. Do they? I asked. Not officially, she said. But offices are like small towns. People connect dots. I didn't gloat, but I didn't comfort her either. This was the start of karma, not because I orchestrated it, but because truth has a way of leaking into places you tried to keep locked. Months passed, The legal process dragged on, but slowly moved forward. Emotionally, I went through different phases: rage, numbness, sadness, acceptance. By the time our court date was scheduled, I felt more tired than angry. Amanda prepared me. "What you say in court should be brief and factual," she reminded me. "You don't need to retell the whole story. The judge has your file." On the day of the final hearing, I saw Natasha for the first time in weeks. She looked thinner, her eyes a bit hollow. She wore a simple black dress, like she was attending a funeral. In a way, she was. We stood side by side in front of the judge, but it felt like we were miles apart. The judge reviewed the documents. "You have both agreed to this divorce on the grounds of adultery committed by the respondent, Natasha Carter," the judge said. "Property division as outlined in the agreement. No children, no spousal support. Is that correct?" "Yes, Your Honor," Amanda answered for me. The judge turned to Natasha's lawyer. "Mr. Green, and on your side?" "Yes, Your Honor," he said quietly. The judge looked at us. "Do either of you have anything you wish to say?" Before I finalized the decree, my heart pounded. I hadn't prepared a speech, but I felt I needed to say something, not for the judge, but for my own closure. "I just want to say that I didn't come to this decision lightly," I said. "I loved my wife. I believed in our marriage, but you can't build a future on 2 years of lies. For my own mental and emotional health, I have to let this go." The judge nodded, then looked at Natasha. "Ms. Carter." Natasha's voice trembled. "I only want to say that I take full responsibility for what I did," she said. "I betrayed my husband and our vows. I regret it deeply. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope he finds peace." The judge wrote a few notes, then spoke. "The court grants the petition for divorce. The marriage between Josh Miller and Natasha Carter is hereby dissolved." Just like that, it was done. No dramatic movie moment, no shouting. Just a few sentences on paper, and the end of a chapter that once started with vows and promises. We walked out of the courtroom. Outside the doors, we stood facing each other, awkwardly. "So I guess this is it," she said quietly. "Yeah," I replied. "I'm sorry," she repeated, voice breaking. "For all of it. For lying. For making you doubt your own memory. For everything." I looked at her. "I believe you're sorry," I said, "but sometimes sorry doesn't undo the damage." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I know." We stood in silence for a moment. Then she asked, "Will you ever be able to trust someone again?" I thought about it. "I don't know," I said honestly. "But I hope so." "I don't want your choices to define the rest of my life." A faint, sad smile crossed her face. "I hope you find someone who values you the way you deserve," she said. "And I hope you learn to value what you have before you lose it again," I replied. We parted ways without hugging. It was over. After the divorce, life felt strange. I moved to a smaller apartment closer to my job. I bought secondhand furniture. I kept things simple. Some nights, the loneliness hit hard. I'd remember small things: Natasha laughing at a joke I made, us cooking together, watching shows on the couch. It was confusing to hold both memories at once, the good moments and the hidden betrayal behind them. I started going to therapy once a week. My therapist, a calm woman named Rebecca, helped me unpack everything. "You lost more than a spouse," she said one day. "You lost the version of your life that you believed was true." "Exactly," I said. "I keep asking myself how I missed it, how I didn't see it for 2 whole years." She nodded. "It's easy to say you should have seen it, but that's hindsight. At the time you trusted her. Trust isn't stupidity. It's a normal part of love." I let that sink in. "I feel stupid anyway," I muttered. "Feeling stupid and being stupid are different things," she replied. "You were faithful in your marriage. That's not stupidity, that's integrity." Her words helped slowly. I stopped blaming myself for her choices. I also started taking better care of myself. I went back to the gym. I joined a small group at a community center, just guys who met weekly to talk about life and mental health. I met men who had gone through similar things. Their stories were painful, but it reminded me I wasn't alone. One evening, Marcus invited me out for drinks with some coworkers of his. I hesitated but decided to go. That's Josh, Marcus said, introducing me to the group. Smartest IT guy, I know, also survived a divorce and didn't turn into a complete mess. So he's a superhero. I rolled my eyes. That's an exaggeration. A woman at the table smiled. Survived a divorce, huh? She said. Her name was Erica. She worked in marketing too, but at a different company. Barely, I replied, but still breathing. We talked casually. She didn't pry for details. She just treated me like a normal person, not a broken one. It felt good. I wasn't ready for a new relationship and I was honest about that, but it was nice to know that the world didn't end with Natasha. There were still people out there who had their own stories, their own scars. At home that night, I looked around my small apartment. It wasn't much, but it was mine. No secrets in the walls, no hidden lingerie in hotel rooms. For the first time in a long while, I felt a quiet sense of control over my life. A year after the divorce was finalized, I ran into Natasha by accident at a grocery store. She looked different. Her hair was shorter. She wore no makeup. Her eyes seemed more tired, but also more grounded. Josh, she said, surprised. Hey. Hey, I replied. How are you? She shrugged. Living, she said. I moved to a different company. Things at the old one got messy. Daniel was eventually fired. They found out he'd been involved with more than just me. HR came down hard. I nodded. I heard some rumors about that. Yeah, she said, looking down. I had to deal with the fallout. People whispered. Some blamed me. Some blamed him. It was ugly. Are you seeing anyone now? I asked. I didn't know why I asked, but the question slipped out. No, she said. I'm focusing on myself. Therapy, trying to figure out why I became the person who did what I did. That's something, I replied. She looked at me. What about you? I'm better, I said honestly. I'm not with anyone either. I'm rebuilding. Slowly. She smiled sadly. I'm glad you're better, she said. You didn't deserve what I did to you. I think about it more than you'd believe. I believed her, but it didn't change the past. It didn't erase the 2 years of lies. We stood there for a moment, then she said, Do you ever think about that night, the bra thing? I let out a small, humorless laugh. Sometimes, I said. It's crazy how something so small exposed everything. I was so arrogant, she said quietly. I really thought I could lie my way out of it. I thought if I insisted enough, you'd doubt yourself. That's the part that keeps me up. Not just the cheating, but the way I tried to twist your reality. I nodded. That's what hurt the most, I said. Not the sex. The lies. The gaslighting. She swallowed and nodded. I know. We said goodbye and went our separate ways. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel longing. I just felt closure. That night, I sat in my apartment and thought about everything that had happened since that morning I fastened her beige bra. I learned that betrayal doesn't always arrive with obvious signs. Sometimes it hides in overtime excuses, and pen were just colleague stories. Sometimes it's exposed by something as small as a missing piece of clothing. I learned that love without honesty is just a costume. It looks real from the outside, but it falls apart under pressure. I learned that revenge isn't always about hurting the other person. Sometimes real revenge is living well, healing, and refusing to let their actions define you. As for karma, I watched it play out without lifting a finger. Her affair partner lost his position. She faced shame at work and in her family. That was between them and their choices. My responsibility was to myself, to walk away, to rebuild, to trust that one day I might open my heart again, but with clearer eyes and stronger boundaries. My name is Josh, and this is the true story of how a missing beige bra ended my marriage and started my life over.